Yeah, I think Aisha was and is truly special. I think she has been my biggest inspiration by far. Uh, and like you said, she died very young. She was just 18. She died of pulmonary fibrosis, which is a progressive hardening of the lung. But Aisha's story is not about uh, why somebody died so young. It's about how did she live her life the way she did? How did she end up lighting up the skies? How did she achieve so much in such little time? And as you said, she's got TED Talks, she's written a book, there's a movie inspired by her. And I think it was all down to just her attitude. And the attitude was, she did a self-portrait of hers, and on that self-portrait, she wrote these words, which I think capture her attitude better than anything else I can say. That it said on her self-portrait, "We are here to laugh at the odds and live life so well that death will tremble to take us." You know, and tremble it did. When it came to take Aisha. Such was the intensity of purpose of I'm here. I will make every single day count. I will make every moment magical. Um, so I think there are a couple of things about her that really inspire me that I want to share with the listeners. I think one is around courage, and as she writes in her book My Little Epiphanies, pick the highest mountain to climb on and the dullest of days to shine on. Meaning that when you're not really feeling that great or things are not going well, pick a mountain. Pick a mountain. Do your very best to get on top, and once you get on top, pick another mountain and do your very best to get on top by focusing always on what you have control over, not on what's happening to you. And I remind myself of that infinite number of times every single day. I think the second thing that I loved about Aisha was her sense of gratitude. Right till the very end, as she lay dying in her bed and her body wasting away, she would say, "I must remind myself to be grateful that I can still smile. I can hear my mother's laughter." You know, um, and 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 I think there's such a powerful message that we can discover everyday miracles around us through the lens of gratitude. If at night before we sleep, we just use the lens of gratitude and say, you know, what is going right in my life, and you'll suddenly find there's so much that is going right. We just somehow don't take the time to acknowledge it, and I think just having that lens of gratitude, you'll discover that there are miracles happening to us all the time. And then finally, this thing of, if you can't change your own life, there's always someone else's. This, I think the power of giving, is so powerful. And as Aditi and I searched for a direction and purpose, we keep coming back to that and saying, okay, what can we do to make a difference in the lives of others? I actually leverage my work and my relationships at work to do that, to make a difference, um, to create a company that reflects the world that I want to see, you know, and also specific projects in Aisha's memory. We have, so Aisha passed away because she couldn't find a bone marrow donor. And now we have a Indian, because in India, you could not get a bone marrow donor. So now we have a India chapter called DKMS forward slash Aisha, which is the bone marrow registry, one of the biggest in the world, that has now opened an Indian chapter to honor Aisha and her memory. So, all the listeners, if you know people in India, or even if you don't, you can go to DKMS in the US and you can register to become a bone marrow donor. And who knows, you may end up saving a life. And I think there's nothing more meaningful than that.
That's interesting you should bring that up. But when I was in college, there was some sort of South Asian conference, but really it was just one big party. And one of the good things that came out is they had a bone marrow drive. So a bunch of us friends registered. And just 2 days ago, one of my friends, he was a match for somebody. And so I encourage every single one of you to take this so seriously. It's super easy to do. And it's incredible what a huge impact you can have on somebody's life. So I think that's incredible. Um, in researching you, there's an anecdote I heard when you were on David Novak's podcast. Actually, you shared this of how he came to your house after Aisha had passed. And you know what I took away, which I'd like for you to tell that story, but what I took away from that is like, it's not about just professional success, but just like being a human being. Like solving for happy isn't just like padding your bank account, which people I know we need money to survive, but also just like being a human being. So I'd love for you to share that story because I really see seeds of what you subsequently are doing with Panera and this time. Like I can see all these seeds as like someone on the outside looking in.
Yeah. I think if I ask all the listeners right now to think of who inspires them the most, you know, and why is that? I'm sure that it will not be intellect, it will be heart. We don't get inspired by how smart people are. I think like we get inspired by how good people are. I think it's humanity that inspires us, you know. And whenever somebody shows compassion, empathy, love, caring, I think that's certainly what resonates with me and inspires me. And when I have received it, I have made, a note of it and I said, okay, I must remember how this makes me feel.
Mm.
And I must pass that forward. I must pour that into other people because of how it makes me feel. It makes me feel respected, recognized, validated as a human being. And that our relationship, even at work, is just not a transactional relationship. It is a genuine human relationship that means something. And I think David Novak, who I mentioned to you, is one of my closest friends and has been my mentor for over 20 years. I think, when Aisha passed away in 2015, I was so crushed by it. And the doorbell rings. I'm in India. David's in the US in Louisville. And the doorbell rings. I open it, and David is standing there, David Novak. And he's turns out, taken 3 commercial flights, for a man who doesn't take commercial flights. And he just wanted to be there. And he came and we hugged and we cried. And he said, I just wanted to be here with you. And that's it. He hugged me. And the next morning, he took those 3 flights and he went back. It meant the world to me. It meant that I was just not another employee. It meant I was a human being that David cared for. And that then just deepens my commitment to David and leaders like that I would do anything for them. So I think there's a great leadership lesson here, which is real inspiration is about having people do things for you because they want to do it. They want to do it, not
Yeah.
because you're asking them to do it. They want to do it. And to get people to feel that way, they can do that only if you have a deep human connection, and if you lead with your heart.